Okay, I think we're live, right?
We are live. Wow.
Oh, no.
This is our second go at this. Hopefully, we can get our life organized and we can present the way that we want to present. How are you, Robin?
I'm good,
Yeah,
nervous.
good.
I'm not used to talking, but let's do our best.
And we're in isolated places. We normally work in the one large office space, and now we've been asked to relegate to a quiet corner. And I think you're at home, and I'm somewhere in my factory right now, and hopefully we can start discussing things that are hopefully important to our clients and the users and all of the people that we hope to reach with this podcast.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's the whole idea of the podcast, really, to, I guess, showcase our users a bit, see kind of like what they're up to and their research projects, kind of like their journeys, what they are hoping to do, and like really, get to know them a little bit better, and hopefully other people with similar fields, or even if they're not similar, just get a little bit of value out of it. See how 3D printing has, you know, many possibilities in the
Yeah.
whole microfluidic biotech, bioengineering field.
Podcasting in general has been something I've been very interested in over 10 years or so, and I think especially with the clients that we've had over the last decade or so, I think we've learned so much from them, and I think each one of them brings to the table a very unique insight in terms of their pathway from concept and ideas to developing an idea strategy, and then eventually we sort of come in with our offerings, our printers or our materials, and then they're able to package it all together and then put out research papers. And obviously, we've got a number of teams that have created something on the commercial side. So I'm hoping that this podcast allows us to really highlight some of our users and some of the fantastic work that they've been doing over the last decade.
I guess before we go more into that, we should really be introducing ourselves.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
I'm Robin. I've been at CalWorks 3D for what, 3 going on to 4 years now as the marketer. I think what really drove me to go to CalWorks 3D was just like the 3D printing aspect, and even though like I didn't really know anything about microfluidics or anything like that, it kind of intrigued me, and I don't know what really kind of pulled me into it, but it was just such a foreign kind of niche, let's say. And I was just really curious, like, what's there?
Yeah,
And I guess that's the same thing for you, because, like, what, your background was in jewelry?
yeah, yeah. I think it was myself, my brother, who's the co-founder. We took over our parents' business, which was now second generation, so we would have been third generation. And I think even when we were in that industry, we really focused on technology, and that was really our I guess our niche that we really enjoyed, just trying to understand how to bring technology to bear. And then, both of us come in from very different educational backgrounds, whether, I've got my degree in physics and astronomy, and then my brother's got his degree in music and sociology. It's so, such a wide range of experiences, and then you throw yourself into a business that is old school, very generational business where it just is passed down from generation to generation. And then we had to sort of figure out what are the new trends. And at that time, the net had just, e-commerce had just started to explode. Marketing was now turning digital, a ton of technology. And then we had this opportunity of learning how digital manufacturing worked, and that was in '09. And in '09, we bought our first 3D printer, and we just threw ourselves at it. We self-taught ourselves CAD designing. We were able to do pretty much anything engineering, any design. We were able to manufacture, and then here we are. Fast forward many years, many interactions with a lot of people in the 3D printing industry, learning, and I think that's the one thing that we've managed to do is just learn, absorb as much as we can, and then I think we find ourselves very fortunate. We actually surrounded ourselves with really good people. I think all of the people that we brought on board at Creative CADWorks and CADWorks 3D and ResinWorks are amazing. Like people like you. We've got our sales team, Munmeet, and we've got tech, Michael and Mary Frances, who's running this podcast, and then we've got Scarlett that does our digital, and then we've got Jody, who's now the new person that's come on board. So we're bringing along a ton of people that have a wide range of experience, and then they sort of are able to bring even more to the table, and we learn so much. I think I think we're really fortunate to have a really good collection of people right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because when I came in, I think I was the first proper new employee for I think 5 years, 8 years. I don't even know. I know Michael's been here for 8 years now, and if I've been here for 3 years, I assume 5 years.
5.
And then I think after that, that's when things started really moving forward as far as the team growing. And then we got Scarlett, I think 6 months after.
Yeah.
And another 6 months after, Mary Frances, and now Jody. So it's crazy how things have been growing. I mean, it's even the fact that we're doing a podcast straight up is, I don't think something you had really thought would happen for CADWorks 3D.
No, in fact, I remember when I first started listening to podcasts nearly, what would have been close to 09, 010, so nearly 15 years now. And I remember thinking it was a fantastic platform just to connect and learn and to engage with a really wide audience. It allowed users from a wide range of fields without the need of having very expensive media technology or anything like that, just to be able to put up content. And there was a global reach. There's an audience there for you. And I think that's the one thing that I want to do with this podcast series is I know we've got amazing users, and I know each one of them have got a fantastic story that I think will serve very, very valuable for the wider audience that sort of understands what we do or has a peripheral understanding of what we do. But I think when they start seeing what our users do, I think there will be a real eye-opening moment, because I think each one of them brings a really interesting story to bear, I think.
And I think in general, what we have in mind for this podcast really kind of is in line with our core values. I feel like in general, like, you're a very curious person, and like you did astronomy, so I guess you have somewhat of background in like, science. I remember going to the Yonker Lab annual workshop, I think it was last year, and we were there as the sponsor or the industry partner, whatever they call it. And then we had like these 45-minute time slots, and you're meant to present and tell them about the company. But I remember you only did that in like 10 minutes max. And then after that, the rest of the time, it was more so you spent talking to each of like the individual attendees and really trying to like dig deep into like, what are they doing? What is their research topic, and like their fields and everything like that. And I found that super interesting, because I think as a business, it's not, and you're there to like present yourself. They don't really do that, really, like where they talk more to the users as opposed to talking about themselves. And so like I feel like this podcast is really like you said, a great platform to, take that to the next level.
Yeah, and I think that event was really interesting, because we got to learn a lot. But then I think we find that a lot of people come and they listen to our pitch, or they see 3D printing technology, but they don't know where the connecting point is between what they're doing and what we do. And I think it's usually during these interactions where we start learning about, what is it that they're doing, and is there a material that that we could develop that could address their need? Is there a technology improvement that we need to do that could address their need? And so for me, yes, it's a lot of learning, but I also get to really hone in on what the new milestones the company needs to start setting up, like whether it's a 6-month project, a 12-month project, or a forever project, one that you have to continue to evolve in order to help users come along. And I think I think all of our team, I think that's the one thing that we've tried to sort of forcefully sort of focus on, that idea that our users and are there to really have a problem to be solved, and we need to do whatever we can on our side to make that as easy as possible.
Speaking more to that, you said before that the master mold, that's how you kind of came up with that product,
Yeah.
right? Someone walked in and say, hey, do you have a
Yeah.
material where I could cast, I guess PWS. You would know better. You tell the story.
Yeah, no, it was exactly that. They walked into our office and they knew that we sold 3D printers. They just said, hey, do you guys have a material that could possibly do this, where we can print a negative device, and you would be able to cast PDMS on it. And he had, a list of things that it needed to accomplish. It's got to be able to, without using any release agents, you need to be able to pour your PDMS on it. It's got to withstand a fairly high temperature of around anywhere from 80 to 100 degrees Celsius. It's got to bake. It's got to be reusable.
Cytotoxic as well.
Yeah, cytotoxicity, everything, right? And then we had materials that we'd been developing that we just did not know what the application was. And my brother, who does a lot of our material formulation, he said, hey, why don't I can possibly modify this material, and it definitely would address their need. And that was the first one. And that, we got a paper in the Journal of Oncology published. Then that rolled into a project with the University of Sydney in Australia with the MAGA team. And that just got everything started, and we really started to we really had amazing users at the start who really provided us a ton of feedback, and we were able to then develop even more material and find improvements on our platform, understand what improvements we had to do on the software side. So all of that together, we were able to present a far more better solution set than what we had even going in at that point. Yeah.
And even then, I feel like we're always still working on trying to figure out more applications for 3D printing in lab settings, right? Like we have the PDMS pretty much established. Everyone is like a core process in everyone's lab. They know how that works. So it's very easy for them to, like, I guess, as a gateway to get into 3D printing. But I feel like there's so much more untapped potential there that even we, like, as the industry experts, like we don't fully understand yet, like, all the different ways we can use things. Like, for example, a lot of times the devices that we have, they've been fully 3D printed, but I know that that's not necessarily what you need to do. I know, like, I think it was UBC, and they were making a biosensor, and it was like the chip was sitting in like a machine recessed aluminum plate, and the only part that was like related to 3D printing was like a PDMS gasket, for example. So like, there's so many different ways that 3D printing can even be incorporated into like creating a full device, right? It doesn't have to be completely 3D printed, but there's like little components here and there. And so I feel like you need a lot of like creativity and a lot of experimentations to like really get a better understanding of the potential of 3D printing.
For sure, and some of the and I think during this podcast series, I think I'm really going to be interested in bringing and presenting some of our users who've been able to take our tech and then take their ideas and what their application that they needed and the unique ways that they have sort of rejigged our solution set to fit their needs. And I think all of them will provide, I hope, and will provide some sort of spark, that moment of aha, oh, I could actually, it's not just to make a specific, PDMS device or a master or a monolithic device, but if you rejig the solution set in a particular way, you can address other things as well. And I'm really looking forward to this. I think the guests that we have lined up already, I think, are going to be will provide us a very good start. And I think some of the other guests that have already indicated their interest, I think, will provide a really good platform for us to launch off the series on.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nice. We already have like a couple of people scheduled for a recording session, I think next month. So, yeah, looking forward to that. I think that pretty much wraps up everything, unless there's something else you want to like talk about, maybe.
No, I think we'll get a chance to do this again, but now with all of our users, and I am sure that as we start recording podcasts, we'll have a lot more of our personal insight, or the company insight, or even the user side insight that might be valuable to the audience out there, wherever you guys may be.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
All right, looking forward to talking with everyone, all the guests, and hopefully share some valuable like insights, and hopefully really just spark inspiration for some of our other users or future users. And let's see where this goes.
Take care of yourself. We'll see you on the other side. Bye.
Bye.